What's going on with it, world? Y'all back at it again, tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast. Yet again, we got another discussion that's very controversial that we got to talk about today. Y'all read the title? Let's get into it. So, this is my opinion on the dating pool, the dating scene of 2024. And I'm just, and maybe this might be anecdotal, this might be an isolated incident, but I do want to just express and kind of, explain this interaction that I've had to kind of use it as a placeholder to kind of give you where the certain temperature and stuff is at, right? So check this out. So, long story short, I'm out and about. I'm not gonna really say the location, but I'm going through this place. I meet a young lady. She sits up there and she's with 4 friends, right? She's with 4 friends, and she sits up there and says something to me because we end up, locking eyes and, whatever. And then she sits up there and pretty much has the gesture saying like, hey, you're more than open or more than welcome to talk to my friends or step to whoever you're interested in. So I took that as, okay, you may not be available, but your friends are. So long story short, I stepped to one of them. She really wasn't really feeling me or whatever like that. So I just go back to the original one that, I had an initial interaction with, right? So long story short, she telling me like, oh, okay, you're handsome. Long story short, I get the digits. Boom. That's it. Now, mind you, before I get the digits, here's the caveat. She was telling me like, okay, she got 2 kids, she got 3 kids, and she's just running down the whole list of all her friends are pretty much, they got kids or whatever. Long story short. But I'm like, whatever, okay. I mean, I'm not gonna allow that to, that's an adjustable. That's not a preference of mine, but it's not a deal breaker, right? So moving forward, we playing phone tag with each other, and eventually, last night I finally get on the phone with her, right? So we on the phone, and we're just kind of going down the list of our do's and don'ts, or wants and whatnots, and pretty much long story short, I just tell her about, my previous experiences, my do's and my don'ts, everything just on the surface, or just the basics of what I would need in a person to be placed in my life, in a certain way, right? So as she begins to talk, not only that she got 2 kids, she's separated, from a 2-year marriage, right? So I'm like, okay, nah, we in murky waters, right? We in murky waters just because, to me, you're still married. I don't care, that whole separated thing, and I'm not a person, because I've never been married, so I'm not, but I see it how I see it, But the main thing I'm getting at is, when I went and tried to hold up my boundaries or certain things that I do or don't, she gonna go ahead and try to tell me I'm gonna be alone. And I found it funny only just due to the fact that you have all these stipulations, you have all these standards, you have all these, and I'm not trying to offend nobody, but it's just my personal take on the situation. You got kids. On my end, I don't got kids, but I do got, 1 or 2 other females that I talk to. And I know you're gonna say it's always just the apples, but basically I'm just looking at it like, you got individuals that you interact with, I got individuals that I interact with that require my time. So I will call that a wash. Just my personal perspective. But the fact that because I'm of a certain, or you're not used to dealing with a certain guy, you're gonna go out your way and try to speak for all women And I had to kind of put her in her place, like, yo, like, you know, I'm not gonna argue with you on if I'm gonna be alone or not. Shoot, I'm alone now in certain aspects, but I know what I bring, you know, to the quote unquote proverbial table, right? But for a female, the problem I'm just having with already the dating pool is just you have women that are trying to get their lives together, are trying to, you know, press reset and reevaluate and grow from all the trauma and all the mistakes they made in the past. And, you know, I just say all that to say is that all my deal breakers was, I don't deal with argumentative women. I don't deal with combative women. I don't deal with opinionated women. I don't deal with women that don't have the mental capacity to be able to process a whole concept without feeling like they gotta interrupt and interject to have selective hearing just because they heard a word or a couple of sentences that might have triggered them, and now they trying to derail the conversation just because of my choice of words, and they never even heard the entire concept to be able to take it for what it is. So women that don't have a certain, you know, comprehension level, I don't deal with. Or if you dealt with trauma, or you're damaged, or you got baggage, or you got triggers, all these psychological, you know, complexes and hindrance. Maybe in the past I used to deal with broken women, you know, just thinking like, hey, you know, if I love her enough and I show her, you know, a better example of how to interact as a human being, maybe she'll come around and some of the positive character traits that I possess will rub off on her. And, you know, you get to a point, you know, and it just depends on your perspective, where you then now understand that it's bigger than the person that you're dating, as far as requiring how you decide to go about behaving character-wise. For example, if I'm a good person, why would I allow one person to be able to dictate my behavior based on their behavior, have a chain reaction and match energy with energy? No. I'm going to be a good person not only because I would like to be good to you, that's just how I naturally am, and it's going to do one or two things, which puts myself in a win-win situation. It's either A, my good nature, my good behavior, my character traits, and my actions are going to, you know, in a way rub off on you, and we're going to have a more healthier interaction. Or two, it's going to expose some of the things that you're not willing to hold yourself up accountable, and things that you're willing to change, and then you will be exposed, and then that will be my cue to go, right? So I always just say all that to say, and it's not to sit up there and try to condemn this person just because we wasn't meeting eye to eye, but, you know, like I said, I've had females sit up there and, you know, to try to project their opinion on how other women are gonna interact with me. And like I said, I sit up there and get an argument, oh, we don't know what you're talking about. Like, no, because even if she did give me everything that I wanted out of her, there's women that had a better resume that's been positioned in my life, still in position to give me even more than what she had to offer. So I just say all that to say, guys, you know, and I'm pretty sure women had a fair share of things they ran into. You feel me? So I'm not gonna just leave it as a guy's problem. But the main thing I'm getting at is, I'm not sure if social media, you know, like social media, or, you know, because social media is very young, you know, very young, it's still in its infancy stage, even though we're like 10, 12, maybe even 15 years in. But when they go 40 years ahead and they got studies on all the different mental illnesses that social media has put on people, changing their perception biologically, you know, biochemically, I mean, you know, and creating these false realities and false narratives, yeah, man, it's gonna be quite surprising of the results that you see. That, in my opinion, you feel me? But I just say all that to say is that it deters certain people that want to meet genuine connections with genuine people, and I can't lie, like, compatibility is everything. It just is, and it's something you can't create or destroy, right? If you're compatible with somebody, you know that's natural energy. You feel me? Natural energy. That makes that compatibility so strong. You know, there's certain things where you can learn how to be compatible, but I just feel like nature-wise, there's just certain people you're gonna be susceptible to, and certain people you're not. And you know, like I said, she's like, "Oh, you're very handsome. You know, you got nice teeth, everything whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, but you're not my type. I'm a fortune teller, and all this other stuff." I just wish that this is the one thing I really wish. And I would admit this too if it were the case. Women have to understand that if my qualifications and my resume is of a certain ilk, to then push back on that just because you don't meet those standards, I wish women would be real with themselves, certain women, and be like, "You're overqualified. You're overqualified for what you're offering in comparison to what I would get in return. I wouldn't want you to do all that." You feel me? Because I'm a realist. I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and I know my deficiencies. I know certain things that I'm kind of set in my ways in, and I'm willing to overcompensate in other areas to offset that. So it's just kind of like having a report card, right? Having a report card, and it's like you failed one assignment, but you passed the next 7, and you got A's, C's, and B's, but your grade averages out to a B plus, right? Just because you failed one test, you feel me? I mean, it depends what test you failed, depending on the person. You can fail that one test, and you may not qualify for that person off that one test, but just because that's a deal breaker for them doesn't make you inadequate to not being a B plus person. It's just, you just don't meet certain, the bare minimum requirements of what they would like. Because you could take another person that has a certain resume, they could be a C minus, but they might have passed that test, and they're willing to take on that person and be more susceptible just because they have a different skill set, in comparison to the other person that, if you look at all the other things that this person provides across the board, you would say on paper, this person is more, that they have a higher value system just because of the things that they, just the things that they bring. Now, a lot of all these things are subjective, you feel me? There are some objective things, but I feel like most of connection is subjective. It's, subconscious. You're only attracted to what you're attracted to. Some of it is indoctrination in programming, because she did say, "Oh yeah, all I like is hood dudes and dudes that got out of prison, and I like that, the guys that got a certain kind of edge." And I'm like, yeah, we're night and day, So when she sat up there and said, "Hey, we're probably not meant for each other," I totally agree. We can agree to disagree on what value is, you feel me, and what is most important. Because when I'm willing to provide for a woman, you may not want a guy that's career orientated, entrepreneurial mindset based, a person that likes to study and read and also, think outside the box, a person that has a certain heightened level of reader, reading comprehension, and understanding a spectrum of different life experiences. You may not require all that for you to be happy with somebody. You may want something else that looks different and has different optics that's more fitting to what you feel like is provided for you. So I don't know, it was an interesting conversation. Yeah, she ended up running off the phone, and I don't think we're ever gonna talk again, honestly. And this is my advice to all guys and women as well, but particularly guys, because I feel like, and I'm guilty of this, you feel me? In the past I was. We gotta be more honest, you feel me? We gotta be more honest and more forthcoming in what we want, you feel me? As far as what we want out of women, and not to sit up there and just say anything just to be able to get a woman's approval and then reveal our true colors, and then the woman ends up leaving anyway, you feel me? Like, honesty, I'm gonna tell y'all from personal experience. You think lying, you feel me, get you ahead? Honesty has been the number one thing that's gotten the best interactions out of women, right? Because the harsh reality is honesty over loyalty. Honesty over loyalty. And I'm going to explain that right now, right? Now, women wouldn't want to admit this, certain kind of women, and, I'm not saying all women, but I'm just saying a certain subgroup of women have this kind of mindset. And if you're a certain guy that's compatible towards this, it's something I would advise you to keep in consideration, you feel me? There could be one girl, two guys. She dates both of them, right? One guy, he's a nice guy, he provides, he protects, he has provision, understanding, the whole package, right? But he got one flaw. He tries to be Mr. Perfect, and he doesn't, he pedestalizes her, and he feels like, I don't want to hurt her feelings. She's just a gentle flower. I don't want to break her heart or tear her apart. If I do some dirt, I'd rather not her discover, just to keep the peace. And I feel like maybe it's naturally, maybe I'm not go as far as say naturally. Maybe it's just some modern age type stuff. I don't know. But the point I'm making is, one day she finds out he cheats, right? He cheats, and she knows something is up, but she confronts him about it, right? She confronts him about the whole cheating thing, right? And we all know women got women's intuition. You feel me? But this isn't about the cheating. This is just a test of his character, right? He doesn't own up to it. She sits up there and says, hey, I got the evidence. Whoopty whoopty whoop. Guess what happens? The trust is broken, right? She's lost respect for this guy despite of all he provides and all the things he does, and across the board, right? Because trust is a respect-based thing. You can't trust nobody if you don't respect them, right? Now let's juxtapose that to the other person, right? She dates the guy. He doesn't provide that much. Maybe he's got some character flaws. Maybe he's a little mean and obnoxious. But he cheats 10 times, right? He cheats 10 times, and each time that she's aware of the cheating, he's forthcoming, right? Yeah, I fucked up. I cheated. I cheated on you. Damn. And he keep doing it. He keep doing it, right? Despite the fact that he has created, and I'm not condoning cheating, I'm just using this example to just pretty much drive the point in why I say honesty over loyalty. Her feelings are hurt, right? It may go as far as her heart is broken. But guess what? The one thing that's still intact is the respect that she still trusts him, even though trusting him comes along with a lot of heartache and a lot of baggage or trauma or but she's gonna not lose respect just because being a truthful man is probably the highest standard when it comes down to the integrity of how a woman recognizes. Okay, yeah, you can buy her flowers. Yeah, you can go ahead and take trips, and you can make her laugh. And you can hold her hand, and you can write poems, and you can sing songs, and you can buy gifts, and you can do everything that you feel like the storybook of a Disney ending of whatever fantasies she could ever have. You can fulfill it for her, but I'm telling you, if she does not trust you, she does not respect you. And if she don't respect you, she don't value you. And if she don't value you, all that stuff that's leading up to all the other stuff that you're doing, it don't even, it matters, but it don't matter as much as her value system. And I'm just talking about certain subgroups of women, because there's some women you could be forthcoming and they still leave, and I feel like that's why a lot of guys don't tell the truth, because those women do exist. So it's like, hey, thank you for honesty, but I can't move forward with this just because I can't get down with that. But I think a lot of guys would be really surprised about how many women are out there that's willing to not condone cheating, but maybe tolerate it in comparison to valuing the integrity of a man that's not afraid to speak his truth. You feel me? Hey, I love you. You know that I do the most for you. No woman has anything over you, but I just like stepping out from time to time. I feel like if men was just to say it straight like that, and like I said, it would be hard for women to hear, and some women, you might lose a lot of women. You feel me? But I'm just saying all that to say is that, the dating pool out here, man, it's not ideal, man. It's not ideal. And maybe, like I said, maybe I'm using an anecdotal, small sample size, because I ain't been outside like that, you feel me? And maybe I'm going to the wrong places. Maybe I'm talking to the wrong people, you feel me? Like, that's always, that's always a possibility. So I'm not going to just sit up there and use this one isolated incident and just try to dictate that across the board. You feel me? It might be better than what I think it is. I haven't been out there to be able to come to that conclusion, but just based off of a couple of interactions that I've came across, it's the mindset of certain females. It's just like, you're not even in the position to even critique a guy like me, because you never even had a guy like me to even sit up there and try to value what I'm worth to the market. You feel me? Like, because you're not all women and you're not a guy. So I know women more than women know themselves. You feel me? Because I'm the one experiencing them from a different vantage point. So it's not about who's right, who's wrong, and I'm just telling you my personal experience, and that's all I can go off of. Now, another guy can tell you a whole different perspective and a whole different spectrum. That's that guy's personal experience. But I'll just say all that to say is that, I don't know. I mean, people that's watching this video, y'all go ahead and drop some comments down, man. Let me know y'all personal experiences of what y'all encountered. Am I tripping? Is it better? Has it gotten it better? Has it gotten worse? Is it the same? If it's not the same, what's the difference? So, with all that being said, thanks for watching. More videos on the